Welcome to Crafting on the Plains. My name is Jacinta and this is my channel about cross stitch, knitting, quilting, sewing, and whatever other crafty endeavors I get up to. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you're a new viewer, welcome. I hope that you have all had a great few weeks since I last saw you, and I am thankful that you're checking out my channel. If you have not already, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video. That helps me out, and then it also helps YouTube know the types of videos that you're interested in as well. So I would love if you would do that. This week, I hope my voice is not too bad. I'm a little bit sick. I think everybody's been some version of a little bit sick over the last several weeks, but I knew that over the next couple weeks, I would not have the chance to film another video. So I wanted to go ahead and get it done today. So this might be a little bit of a short one just because I don't want to exhaust my voice too much. But I do have a lot of stuff. I have new starts. I have 2 new starts. I have one pre-existing whip, and then I have got actually a previous finish that I just decided to show you, and I've got some plans, some knitting, and some quilting for you. So I'm going to just go ahead and get right into it. So I'm going to start with my pre-existing finished. It's a formerly finished object, I guess, a previously finished object. So this right here is so cute. This is, I actually think it's just called maybe Valentine. I can't remember the name of the pattern. If I remember it, I'll put it below, but I'll link it. This is from Emily Call of Salt and Pepper Stitching, and it is such a cute pattern. I love it. I did my own color conversion, and I'm not sure that I saved it, so if you're interested, let me know, and I can try to get it for you. But I love how this turned out. I stitched this on a 36 count. It might be White Winter or Winter Moon. I'm not sure. It's a 36 count. And I did do a full color conversion just to some different DMCs that were in my stash. I kind of made it a little bit more peachy than the original. And I stitched this last year. This is kind of my only Valentine's Day stitch that I've ever done, but I love it. I would like to do more at some point in the future. And then I just stuffed it and backed it with just some quilting cotton that I had. And I sewed up the bottom. And I like to keep my finishes pretty simple. I felt like this one had a lot going on with all the different motifs. So I didn't want to put like any borders around it. I felt like that'd be too much. So I just left it like this, and then I have a little kind of dough bowl thing and some sewn fabric little hearts that I put around it as well. And so really happy about it. She has a number of these kind of small pillows that are different holiday or season themed with a lot of different little motifs. And this was really, really fun to stitch because it felt like little mini finishes every time I got one done. So very happy about that. And I just got my Valentine's Day stuff out for display, and I walked past it as I was coming in here to film, and I just thought, you know what, I'll grab that and I'll just show it. So that is my previous finish, that's the word I was looking for. Okay, so now I'm going to show you my one pre-existing whip, which is a little bit out of order as how I normally do things, but since I only have one thing that I worked on that I've shown you before, if you've seen my last video, I thought I'd show it to you now. So this is the pattern. This is in a project bag that I made myself, and this is Plum Street Samplers Spring Moon. And I love this chart. I think I have been working on it because it puts me in a spring mood and I'm ready for spring. It's been quite warm this last week or two actually, but so there we are. I've started the rabbit up there, and I've worked more on the basket. So from what I've seen of other people who've stitched this moon, the spring moon or the summer moon or any other versions, that the basket and the house are the most dense stitching. And so the recommendation is kind of to work your way down into the basket and the house as soon as you can to get them kind of started and out of the way. So I'm sort of doing some fill in, working my way down in the basket, and then alternating when I get bored on the basket, then I come up here and I do some more of the fun like flowers and bunny and things like that. So, but I am trying to work my way down on that basket. And the basket once you get the outline in, it's really just fill in. And so I'm trying to save that also for times where maybe I'm not feeling like paying very much attention, but I do need to get down to that house. So that's my one whip. I have two new starts, which one of them is like a sal in general, and then one of them is one that I'm stitching with somebody, and I'm so excited about it. So I'm going to start with my sal. So this one, I showed you the plan. I think I showed you the plan for both of these. So this one is in my me-made project bag that is made from the Lewis and Irene Celtic Dreams collection, and it's got floss on it, of course, everyone's life, right? And this is Hair and Thistles, and this is by a designer called Wanderling Stitches on Etsy. Now, the tragedy, well, it's not a tragedy, it's good for her, but she announced, I guess mid last month, that she and her husband are embarking on some new adventure, and that she closed her Etsy shop. So her Etsy shop unfortunately closed at the end of January. So I'm sorry. I saw her post and I went and bought everything that I had favorited from her shop because it's so cute. So cute. And this I'm stitching on I didn't tell you, Spring Moon is on 36 count wheat by Fiber on a Whim, and I'm stitching it with the Vicki Clayton silks. So get myself together. So this one I had planned, if you watched my last episode, I talked about stitching it on a 36 count as well. I did not realize how small this piece is. It is like 40 something by 60 something, I think. Yeah, 45 by 74. So it would have turned out on 36 count like 2.5 inches by 3 inches or something like that. And although that would have been adorable, I feel like I want it to be a little bit more substantial. And then also the thistles have back stitch. I don't know if that's accurately showing up very well. I have some pictures on my Instagram that show the back stitch a little bit better. We had to do a reset on our laptop, so we're still fiddling getting all of our settings back the way we want them. But there's back stitching on the thistle. Yeah, I think you can see on the actual head, the flower, and then also on this, not in this, but on this part. And I think that on a 36 count, that back stitch would have been too small and it would have got lost. So I did it on a 32 count. So this is a 32 count Grandma's Slip by XJU Design. And I love this pattern so much. And so, like I said, I went and bought several more of these. And that's why I'm kind of glad I'm in my start all the things era, because I would have just kept putting off starting her patterns and I would have never realized that they were going to be leaving Etsy. So sometimes it's good to just go ahead and jump in and start things, because even PDF patterns are not necessarily forever. So that is that, and this is my start for the Mighty Wee Nation Sal, which is a stitch along being hosted by Amanda of Alba Stitcher, and she is stitching in celebration of her homeland, the country she lives in, which is Scotland. And so it's Scottish themed, and so I went with this designer. She is a Scottish-based designer, Scotland-based designer. And then this, of course, being a thistle themed pattern, also was very fitting. So I haven't decided if I'm going to go ahead and just start another one of her patterns, because like I said, I bought like 6 of them right afterwards and just keep it in the same bag, or I'm not really sure. But this has been my focus project for the most part over the last week or two, because I wanted to, it's small, and so I feel like I can get it done. And I have another new start that I just started, and then I have another new start coming up in a few days. So I need to be also completing things as well. And this seems like an easy achievement to complete. And it just makes me so happy to work on this project. It's beautiful. And if you're interested in joining in the Mighty Wee Nation Sal, I will link Amanda's channel below. She is fabulous. If for some reason you've seen me, but you haven't seen her, definitely check her out. She's one of my absolute favorites to watch. Okay, so then my next new start is in an Amazon bag because it's not, I'm running out of actually need bags. That's okay. I have some fabric, I just need to do them. So my next start, I'm starting with my friend who I met here on Flosstube and Instagram, and that is Sarah from Handmade by Sarah W. We have just gotten along so well. We met online through one of the sales that she was hosting actually, and then we ended up in the same room together at the Jingle Ball and just really hit it off even more from there. And so she saw one of my videos where I was showing my collection of these little animal stacks, animal trios, whatever they're called. And she said, hey, I have Bigfoot. Like, do you want to start it together? And I said, of course I do. Yes. So we decided that we would start this on February 1st. So this is Bigfoot Bunch. And I am doing this with like most of the called for. I think I'm doing, I was at the Silver Needle sometime last year and I picked up several of these that I loved, or had already purchased several of these that I loved. And I just went through and I got all the fancy floss that they called for because they only call for like 3 or 4 fancy flosses each. And then I'm just filling in some of the DMC I had, some of the DMC I'm just going with something similar. But this is my start. And there he is. So this is on a 36 count by Fiber and Whim. It's the color Milk and Honey. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Milk and Honey. And I'm doing 2 over 2. And so I have my first little Bigfoot. That's the daddy Bigfoot. And then, yeah, so I decided to get him done first. And then I can kind of alternate between doing fill-in when I feel like just doing fill-in, and then also doing, I've started the leaves. And I'm really excited to see how this goes because Sarah and I are very different stitchers in terms, we have the same taste in projects a lot of times, but we stitch different ways. So she's a color completer, and I love to watch color completers progress because it's so satisfying. But I do not trust my counting enough to be a color completer. I wish I could, but I would never have anything correct. Everything would be all over the place if I tried to go color by color. So my method is to stitch whatever involves the least amount of counting. And so I usually will try to finish off a color on my needle as long as I don't have to count too far. But yeah, I'm a big, like, whatever I'm not bored with and whatever is the easiest to count is what I stitch next. So I'm interested to see how the both of us like progress, because I think it'll be fun to see it stitching up in a different way, in a different order. I think that'll be really fun. So really excited about this, and I will link her channel as well below. I think I've linked her a couple times because like I said, I've participated in her style, and she is another one of my favorites to watch. And I'm just so thankful that through Flosstube and this community, I've been able to make friends like Sarah, to be able to do this kind of fun stuff with. So very excited. And so put my pattern back. Okay, that's all I've been stitching on. I've been because I've been starting things, I really haven't stitched on a whole lot of variety of projects. I am now, I think, going to talk about some plans for stitching. So first thing is I'm doing WhipGo, and my WhipGo board is a variety of projects. So I don't just have cross stitch, I have cross stitch, I've got knitting, I've got crochet, I've got quilting, all on there. And so some of them are projects that I'm planning on getting done this year, and some of them are just long-term projects that I know I need a reminder to pull out and work on. So I had the WhipGo numbers got called, and I got 1 cross stitch whip and I got 1 crochet whip. So I'm going to show you the cross stitch whip now, and then I'll show you the crochet whip later on. So the cross stitch whip that I pulled, I don't know where the bag is, but it is this, and it is White Winter Moon by Kathy Barrick, and I love this piece so much. And this was kind of an impulse start for me last year in like March-ish. And last year I tried to make it sort of like a daily stitch. Every morning that I had time, I would try to stitch just as much as I could, maybe like 50 stitches, 100 stitches, etc. And I got quite a bit done doing that. And this is on a 36 count Saltbush by Fox and Rabbit. And I'm doing the call for DMC. So it's originally charted in a silk, but Kathy Barrick always provides you with a DMC alternative. And so that's what I'm doing. And it looks amazing. And it's so pretty. If you've seen this, the picture makes it look more, I think, grayscale, but these are all like shades of green. And except for the yellow bird, of course. So I'm about like 70-ish% done. I think this is on Pattern Keeper. I haven't looked at it recently. But the moth in the center is like 60% of the stitching on its own. It's a big moth. But as you can see, it's there. I would love to get this finished this year. I don't know if I will or not, but I find these motifs so satisfying, and I'm really excited to work on this because it is a beautiful piece. So for my WIBGO, I usually don't have set goals like I need to complete X thing or work a certain number of hours. I just try to get some good progress, usually spend at least a couple days on the project and just see how far I get. My goal is really just to make progress, to touch the project, keep pulling it out, keep making progress on it, not necessarily to reach a particular goal, because month to month, what I can reasonably achieve is very different. So I'm going to probably try to spend at least a couple nights on this one. February is a short month. I have another start planned, and I have some work travel that I have to do. And so, yeah, I don't know how much I'm going to get done, but I love this piece. And I'm even just pulling it out today to get ready for the video. I'm already getting excited again about working on it. All right, so there's that. Now I have another plan, and this is a plan that I tried to resist working on, but I just could not. Samantha, the Huga Stitcher on Flosstube, if you've not seen her and you've seen me, I don't know, go leave my video and check her out. She is so much fun to watch. She's one of those people who is, just like has an infectiously happy personality. Like, she's so excited about all of her projects. And I mean, of course, we're all excited about our projects, but she is just has this pure joy about her. And it's like when I watch her, I feel happy and I feel excited. And so I love her channel. She just makes me feel so excited about stitching, so happy about stitching. And she just has this like infectious, bubbly personality that is so much fun. So she does incredible projects. She does tons of like Mira's, she does Joan Elliott, she does like, all manner of big fancy projects. And she's an inspiration to me for sure. Like, I want to be on her level someday. But she is hosting a Year of the Dragon stitch along. So she's doing a Year of the Dragon starting on the Lunar New Year, which is February 10th, and basically stitch a dragon. And just runs, I think, the whole year. And you can do a small dragon, you can do a big dragon, you can do whatever. Like, she's keeping it really open. But I saw that and I thought, okay, that sounds really fun. And of course I started poking around, looking for some different patterns. But then I thought, okay, no, all the patterns I saw were big and I love them, but I thought I don't need another giant pattern right now. So I was like, I'm just going to enjoy watching other people. It'll be fine. Well, then Caroline of Caroline's Stitch Corner, she and she's somebody who we have really similar tastes in patterns. We've chatted a little bit, and we're planning to start something together later on this year. And she started posting about her Year of the Dragon stitch along piece that she was going to do. And that got me thinking again about it. So I went back to Etsy, was looking around, and I found a couple patterns that I just could not get out of my mind. So when you just find a piece and you just cannot stop thinking about working on it, it was like that. I had to start it. So it's a PDF, and I'm pulling it up right now so I can tell you. So I'll put a picture of it on the screen. It's from author Embroidery Design. Embroidery Design. I think it's a Ukrainian cross stitch pattern company seller. And it doesn't really, the name is like Dragon Cross Stitch Pattern. It's something generic. So I'm calling it Lace Dragon. And this thing is beautiful. It is a bit non-traditional maybe, but it's beautiful. And there's two pieces, they're kind of companion pieces, and I actually put a poll up on my Instagram of which one I should do. I think I picked the one that actually had the less votes, but I think at the end of the day it was the one I liked better. But I'm going to probably do the other one too. So if you've watched me before, you may be aware of my inexplicable love of backstitch that no one else seems to understand, but this pattern has got some backstitch and it looks like lace. So I'm referring to it as the lace dragon because that makes more sense to me than the generic name that's attached to it. And I'm so excited. And it only has a few colors. It's got like maybe 4 or 5 colors, and then it's got a lot of backstitch, and I'm really, really excited. It's going to be beautiful. And so I went ahead and ordered, I actually don't have my flosses with me, but it's all DMC. It's basically different shades of black and gray DMC. And then I'm going to be starting it on, I ordered this. This is a 36 count Zweigart Winter Moon. And I really like this. This is what I've stitched quite a few pieces on this, and it's just like a little bit of an off-white. I wanted it to be on a white or a cream color because I felt like that really helped the back stitches and the lace look like the black on white pop, but I didn't want it to be a pure white. Originally I wanted to do this on a 32 count, but they did not have on 1, 2, I just could not find a 32 count in a shade that I wanted. And so I think this will be okay. This is not the tightest 36 count ever. I've used this before. And now that I'm thinking about it, if I have to do a lot of stitches in 310, that 310 can be a little sparse. So maybe it's good that I went ahead and went with the 36 count. So I'm hoping that the back stitch and everything still looks really beautiful and nice on it, but I'm really excited. So I'm going to be starting that on the 10th. And yeah, I just can't wait to get started. So definitely check out Samantha's channel, check out Caroline's channel. As well to see what they're up to because they have some really beautiful patterns too. All right, so that is my cross stitch. I am going to talk now about, I'm going to do my quilting just really fast because I just have one piece. So this was my WhipGo, one of my WhipGo calls from last month was to work on this quilt because like I said, I have a number of different projects that I use. So this quilt is, get the cover page. This is Connecting Threads Butter Churn. I'm trying to find like the, oh, here we go. I don't think this is stapled right. Okay, Connecting Threads Butter Churn. And it's from Needle in a Haystack, and it is so beautiful. And it is using, this is a kit that my husband bought for me for Christmas, I think 2 years ago. So it's using the fabrics, it's using the Connecting Threads fabrics, and I think it's General Store Refresh. That's what it is. So this line is not available anymore. I actually looked, and I had to order some backing because I went ahead and got that. And so I ordered it from, they sold a few pieces of the original General Store line, and I think they'll be similar. So I'll show you that maybe the next time I pull this quilt out. But so when I last showed you, I was just working on these half square triangles, and I've done a lot of them, but I was getting bored. I was getting real bored because I have to make 144 of these. And if you're a quilter who does a lot of big quilts, that probably is not a lot to you, or you do a lot of intricate piecing. But for me, I was getting bored making these half square triangles. And so I finally said, okay, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and start piecing some blocks because I felt like that might give me some motivation. So I've made a little bit less than half of all the half square triangles. I still have, actually I have this stack that I've sewn, but I still need to press them open and trim them down. And then I still have quite a few that are just in bags. That's how I store, is I keep my letters, I letter them, and then I put them in these bags. And I reuse my bags. I mean, I've used these bags for a number of quilts, other projects, various things. I don't throw these away and get new ones every time I make a quilt. I reuse them. But yeah, so I have everything in here. This is like a Dollar Tree bin, and I keep them organized this way. Sometimes if it's smaller pieces or there's less pieces, I'll just clip them or something, but there is so many little squares, little-ish squares in this pattern that I had to put them in these bags to organize them. So I started piecing a few blocks. I got 4 blocks done. And so I'll just show you one because they're all the same. But here it is. And I haven't like squared these up or anything. I just pieced them. So they look like that. And of course, you know, they're all the same. And then the way it's going to go is that you kind of they get put almost like, it's not really at an angle, but it makes it look like it's set on point. And so they get put together like that, if that makes sense more. But it kind of creates like the block pattern actually creates like a sub pattern, like a bigger pattern in the quilt. So it'll kind of go like this. Maybe I can hold it up. So they'll go together like this. And it'll create those points. Okay, I'm doing a really bad job. I'm going to stop this now. But I created 4 of these, and I really do feel like that helped motivate me. I'm normally like an assembly line style quilter. I want to get every piece done, you know, the first step and then go through. But I was just getting, I couldn't sew. I think this quilt has sat for, I've been working on it for over a year now. And it's sat, and I think one of the reasons it's sat is because I got to those 144 half square triangles. And I was like, I don't feel like working on half square triangles. And then I wasn't working on the quilt. So I think if I can do some of these and kind of see some actual, you know, start seeing some actual blocks coming together, it's getting me motivated to actually work on getting the quilt finished. So my goal is to have at least 1 quilt finish this year. Last year, I made 0 quilt finishes as far as I can remember. I think I finished 0 quilts. I might have quilted 1 quilt, but no, that's not true. I think I finished 0 quilts last year, and I have like 4 quilts in progress, so I need to finish them. Okay, so that's my quilting. I'm going to move on to some basically yarn crafts. I have 1 knitting project that you have not seen yet, and then I have a crochet project. That's my whip go. So this is my knitting project, and this is a gift for a lady that I go to church with. She sings in the choir with me. She's very, very talented, and I know that she knits. I don't know how much she knits, but I've seen her. She's retired, and I've seen her having like some knitting books, and she comments on my knitwear a lot. And so I feel like she'd appreciate it. And she mentioned the other day that she always has cold hands when we're rehearsing and stuff like that. So I'm making her some little fingerless gloves. And my ball of yarn just rolled away. So this is actually out of leftovers. This is a Knit Picks yarn. I don't remember which one it is. I actually don't think they're selling it anymore because I couldn't find anything that was like this. I think it's like a wool acrylic blend. I made my daughter a cardigan out of this a year or 2 ago, and it's like this light pink color. And I had most of a ball, or like half of a ball of it left. And so it's like I remember it being listed as a sport weight, but it's like a heavy sport. It's almost a DK weight, but it's more close to a sport weight. And I am using a pattern that I cannot remember the name of. It's a free pattern. I will link it below, but it's a free pattern. It's just one size, but yeah, it's just a free pattern I found on Ravelry, and then it's like on a website for free. So I will link that below, but this is one that's finished, and it has a beautiful cable. But this cable, it looks really, really complicated, and it's actually not. It's actually super simple. I was surprised because I wanted something that looked a little intricate because I want to look really nice. But yeah, I was surprised at how easy, how simple this cable is. Like, I mean, obviously I've been knitting for a while, and I've done a lot of cables, but this cable was so simple. And I am using a cable needle. I do know how to cable without a cable needle, but sometimes I just prefer to use one. And then this is my second one. I actually just split for the little thumb gusset. So there's this one. So right and left. And so there's that. And like I said, I just put these thumb stitches on a holder. And so now I'm going to be like knitting the rest of the body. So there we go. I'm really excited about this, and I'm excited to give them to her. I'm trying to get them done quickly because it's already starting to warm up. We will inevitably have another cold snap as soon as we get complacent. But I do want to give them to her before it gets to be like fully spring. Okay. So that is my progress. And then I want to show you this really quick. This was my other WIPGO call, and this is my granny stripe blanket. This is a scrap crochet blanket. And I am not like an epic crocheter. I do a little bit here and there. I've gotten more into it. I showed you my animals last time. But this is a project that I've had for years, and it's going to continue to be going on for years. This is just a scrap blanket. I have never bought anything specifically to go in this blanket. It is 100% scraps. So I'm trying to figure out a way to pull it up. So here she is. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's quite large. I have regrets about making it this large. When I started, I was like very overambitious, and I thought like I'm gonna make it the size of like a queen bed. Terrible idea. But here we are. So yeah, it's the size of queen bed. Lengthwise. So as you can see, it's very scrappy. When I started down here, I was doing one row of each color, and then I realized that was tedious and dumb. So now I do no more than 2 rows of each color. That way, it still looks quite scrappy, but it's not like that. So here we are. And let me fold it so I can get you a better look. So this is, I don't even remember what pattern I use. If you just Google like granny stripe blanket, it'll come up. I am using a size G clover crochet hook. I have fuzz in my mouth because some of this is alpaca. And it's all fingering weight, little scraps. So this is really fun to just pick up and just go. I love working on this. I actually got a lot of this progress done in like a month or two, a year or so ago. But then my wrists started to hurt from the crochet. And so then I kind of put it down. I've got ends I need to weave in. I mean, y'all. But anyway, so I have a few little collections of scraps in here. Just leftovers from sock projects, different projects, it's all fingering weight. So whenever I have a fingering weight scrap that's smallish, I will go ahead and put it in here, and I will start working on it. I think after a certain amount of rows, then I allow myself to use the same one over again, but I try not to, I try to have it very, like really varied. Because there's no color management, there's no like, it's just so random that I feel like I just need to embrace the complete random nature and not even try to make it look cohesive. Like, again, this is scrap blanket, it's whatever. So, but yeah, I really like it. And it is starting to look like an actual blanket now and not just like a weird scarf. So, but yes, I have a long way to go. I don't know when I'm going to work on this month. It's probably going to be just like one evening, and it's okay. This is a long-term project. This will be like maybe my grandchildren will have a blanket one day, but it's a way to use up stuff that would just otherwise be sitting or get thrown away. So I'm not bothered that it's not getting done quickly because it is just that. And that's why I put it on my whip go, is because I forget about this project and it's something that I'm not always feeling like working on all the time. And so that way I at least pull it out a couple times a year and remember that it's there, add a few stripes. And yeah, it's really fun. So that is my plan for yarn stuff. And I think that's it. I have some haul, but it's all just like random DMCs that I needed to fill in for things or whatever. So it's not, other than of course this fabric right here, it's nothing that's like really exciting and fun to show you in a haul. So that is everything that I have today. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a wonderful next few weeks. I hope you get lots of crafting time, and I will see you in the next episode.